What up? Happy New Year. We're about a week into 2023. It's about time for us to talk about the best movies of 2022. These are by far not up for debate the greatest movies to come out last year, in my opinion. I just like different movies like this, where it's like it kind of has an old school vibe to it, but at the same time, it's modernized in a way where younger people like myself can really appreciate it. But I also enjoy old cinema a lot, so there's that. It's probably my favorite mystery thriller of the year. Intergalactic is by far my favorite animation of the year. I watched it with my wife. She put it on Netflix one day, and I was just watching it. I was like, yo, I really like this. It's really gorgeous and it's really colorful. It's kind of like how I see New York when I go there, at least. It's like just all of the colors in the streets. It's just my favorite thing about New York, of course, except for pizza. It's considered to be an animated series, so I'm guessing that means there's gonna be another one coming out at some point, which I'm happy about. And I really like the story. And I'm not really that big on romance movies necessarily. I mean, I don't hate them. They're just like not necessarily up there with my favorites, but I normally give some of them a chance if it doesn't seem too cheesy. The main characters, they remind me of either myself or people that I know or people that I've, friends or whoever, and that was probably the biggest thing to me, aside from the artwork being amazing, was just that it was a believable story and there was believable conversations going on. And if you haven't watched that, you should definitely check that out. If you know me, like if you really know me, then you know I'm a huge foodie. So there was no way I was not going to see this movie. Ray Fiennes is in it. I mean, that's pretty much all I need. I don't really need much else. I'm really disappointed in the lack of Voldemort memes from the internet for this movie. I mean, I feel like enough people have seen this movie and know something about this movie for there to be some kind of trend going on where there's some memes of Ray Fiennes being Voldemort. And because some of these quotes in these movies is like really hard for me to not just be like, oh, that's Lord Voldemort. Dang. Okay, he was phenomenal in this movie. He was incredible in this movie. Anya Taylor-Joy was amazing in this movie. She's really annoying me, and not in a bad way. It's more of like she's just in every movie. She's just, it's like every year, but I can't be mad at it because she's plays a different role every time, but she kills it every single time. She does her homework and she really has range. So can't be mad at that. But this was another clever movie, and it was also like kind of messed up, and I love that. Now, I 100% understand people that are pissed about so many Batman movies. It's always Batman this, it's always Batman that. I completely understand, okay? But I'm also a huge Batman fan. I already did a review on this movie. If you want, you could probably check it out somewhere below. Basically, I had a lot of the same thoughts as a lot of doubters in terms of Robert Pattinson. But it wasn't because I thought Robert Pattinson wasn't a good actor. It was because I just didn't like the suit. I couldn't get with the suit. Like, come on, man. I still kind of can't get with the suit. I don't really like it. But that's about the only thing I could say that I didn't like about this movie. Kind of blows my mind still because I'm actually tired of the realistic Batman. Like, I want a Batman that can take on the Justice League and can fight these super villains with these super godlike powers because he's Batman. I've been waiting for that for the longest. But at the same time, I can't be mad when the realistic take is done this well. I've watched it quite a few times, even though it's 3 hours long, because that's just what happens when you make a good movie. The cast was amazing. The score, I love the Batman theme. Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman was amazing to me. She reminded me of the Catwoman in the comics. She just kind of has that, she has all of the features that I would look for in a modern day Catwoman. She has the walk, she has the look, she has even like the facial features that I would picture. Like, yeah, she could definitely be Catwoman, and she killed it. Colin Farrell, pretty sure everybody is in agreement with me of like, yo, the makeup done on this guy for Penguin was nuts. I told my wife after the movie was over, yo, did you know the penguin was Colin Farrell? She was like, what? It's like, yeah, that's who that was. Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, I never would have thought of him to be Commissioner Gordon. Like if I was casting, I probably would have never thought, because that's probably why I don't do that for a living, because that was a hell of an idea. And he was perfect. Long story short, I love this movie. This is the fifth movie in the Predator series, and it is a prequel to the original. But this is easily, by far, the best Predator movie since the original. I wouldn't even be mad if some people were saying it's even better than the original. Don't shoot me. I'm just saying, it's that good. It has a real compelling story, unlike most of the other movies. A little more emotionally invested in the characters in this movie, and the action is just as great as any Predator movie. It's also one of those movies that I could just watch over and over again. I wish I did a separate review for just this movie alone, because I could go on and on and on and on and on about this movie. But I'm just going to sum it up into one thing. Mia Goth. Bro, this is one of the greatest performances of the year by very, very far. I can only think of maybe one or two other performances that should even be mentioned in the same breath as this one. Pearl, if you don't know, being the prequel, here it is, another prequel to the movie X that came out earlier in the year. I love the old style that it is. It's such an old style, like, horror movie. Even the music, the score is a very, very old fashioned movie score, and I love it because it was perfect for this movie. Mia Goth as Pearl, she captures what it's like to be battling trauma, going through depression, and having some mental health issues. I won't go into the actual storyline in case anybody hasn't seen it, but wow. And this is probably, I would say, my favorite horror movie of the year. Yeah. If you would have told me that one of the highest grossing blockbuster movies of the year would be one of my top 5 favorite movies of the year, I would probably say you're lying. Because I tend to lean more towards original movies, original stories that aren't based on anything, because I feel like, not only because I feel like they're often criminally underrated through the year, but I genuinely believe that they're like the best movies. So to have this movie in my top 5 was probably my biggest surprise of the year. To do a sequel decades after the original movie is not something that I'm often crazy about. There's just a lot of pointless remakes and reboots and sequels. However, Top Gun Maverick is the ultimate tribute to Tony Scott's original movie, in my opinion. Tom Cruise is amazing. I didn't even see him as Tom Cruise in this movie. I just see him as Maverick, which, thank you, because that's just how it should be. There's so many intense scenes in this movie that I wasn't expecting to actually feel like I was in danger with them. Everything about this movie was, I would say, worthy of all the praise it's getting. Now, I know for sure that this is not the most popular movie. I know a lot of people probably have not seen this movie, but this is a psychological horror thriller about the history of African American women who attend these prestigious, predominantly white universities, and their experience to this day. And it is mind blowing. It's definitely a triggering movie. And if it's triggering for me, I know for sure that it's triggering for the actual black women who have gone through this and go through it to this day. This is one of 3 projects that, at least that I know of, that Regina Hall has done over the past year, just in 1 year. And I just wish that she gets all of the credit that she truly deserves, because she is one of the most versatile actresses I've ever seen. She's been so many different characters, and she's extremely believable as every single one of them. And this movie is no different. There's not too much more I want to say about this movie without giving away too much of the storyline, because I know, like I said, it's not the most popular movie, so I really want people that see this to check it out. The picture is painted well enough to where you'll be affected by the story for sure, some kind of way. So do yourself a favor. So Everything Everywhere All at Once came out actually early in 2022. I want to say around March or something like that. And I went and saw it with my mom. If you've seen this movie, you know how hilarious that could be. This movie did so well after initially seemingly only being in select theaters. It did so well that it kind of either stayed in theaters or it was kept getting re-released in more theaters or something like that. But it definitely expanded more and more because as the year went by, I started hearing more people talk about it, more of my friends, more people on the internet, and deservedly so, because this is by far, to me, the most creative movie of the year. It's so layered, it's entertaining, it's funny as hell, it's sad, it's kind of depressing, it's action packed. I don't know. Like, there's so many genres in this movie just wrapped up in one, but it's well done. It's very well done. Michelle Yeoh is one of my favorites. She's been in so many of my favorite movies over the last several years since I was younger. So she was my main draw for going to see this movie. I just love how it touches on family issues, um, touches on sexuality, touches on marriage, parenting, so many different things, while also giving you so many other things to pay attention to and think about. I definitely had the most fun at theaters watching this movie more than any other movie. This is just yet another piece of proof that Asian cinema is not to be played with. Yes, The Woman King. There's a lot I could say about this movie right now, but I will just say it took a lot for me to change my number one from Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that movie was my favorite movie for so long. Even all the way up to making this video, it was really tough for me to decide. It's probably more like 1A, 1B, whatever. But the reason I decided to go with this one as my number one is because, at least from my perspective, it seems like it's not as talked about. It doesn't get enough credit. Like, yeah, it got a lot of buzz around the time when it was coming out, but after, it didn't seem as much. And maybe that's because you had Wakanda Forever coming out and you had all these other popular movies coming out after it. So maybe that's why the buzz didn't last as long. But I do know there was a lot of controversy also around the internet surrounding this movie, which, I mean, that's not a surprise to me, because when you have a black film or African film, there's always going to be controversy. Unfortunately, everything that I believe is needed to make an amazing movie was done with this movie. First and foremost, Viola Davis is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I believe Viola Davis had the most powerful performance of the year. There's so many different characters in this movie, and I loved every single one of them. The kingdom was gorgeous. Nothing felt cheesy about this movie. The only thing I could say at first was I thought John Boyega, I thought I was going to have to warm up to him a little bit in his role as the king. Not because I don't think he's a great actor. It's just for some reason, I guess because of his youth or something like that. But by the middle of the movie, I was like, oh yeah, he's this is the king. I feel like everybody in this movie performed to the highest level. I also cannot ignore how beautiful the movie is in general. Like, the cinematography is incredible. It could be the best cinematography of the year. The music is incredible. Shout out to Terrence Blanchard. New Orleans, we in there. Also, another huge thing to me was the fight scenes, the action scenes. This was some of the best fighting choreography, I think, in the last 5 years at least. And that's saying a lot, because I'm a huge like action movie fan, not just action movie fan, martial arts movie fan, kung fu fan. Like, I'm big on fight choreography. And to say that these women did all their own stunts, thus making it feel that much more real, is crazy. I must say this movie had the biggest effect on me from so many different aspects. I was emotionally invested. I was thoroughly entertained. I even loved the humor. I just hope this movie ends up getting all of the credit and praise it deserves because it's beautiful. Those are my picks for the best movies of 2022. I'll be sure to check back in and let y'all know my thoughts on some more movies. So if you like this video, you could give me a follow, a like, a subscribe, a comment, whatever, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.